Next at 11, an unusual situation occurred during Ronnie O'Neal's double murder trial today. O'Neal's young son took the stand to testify against his father. Prosecutors say O'Neal killed his girlfriend and daughter and tried to kill his son in 2018. But the boy survived and told the court what he remembers from that violent night.
Do you remember the night when something bad happened to your mother and your sister?
Yes. ABC Action News is not identifying the boy because he's a minor and the victim of a crime. On Wednesday, he faced down his own father, appearing over video conference to share memories from the night his mother and sister died.
I was sitting in my room and I saw my mom and my dad arguing.
The boy says he heard screaming and saw his father, Ronnie O'Neal, holding a shotgun. Then he saw his mother, Kenyatta Barron, run into his sister's bedroom and hide in a closet. The boy says O'Neal ran after them.
And then my dad said, come in here and come kill this the B word. And then I went in the room and then he handed me the shotgun and helped me shoot it.
He doesn't remember if the shotgun went off, but after that, he described how he saw his father hit his 9-year-old sister, Ron Nevea, with an axe. Then O'Neal turned on him.
He put me on the ground and then he had his foot on top. I was laying on my stomach. He had his foot on top of me and he was holding me down and he was lighting a match. He was lighting a match with the tissue, and then he threw it down.
First responders say when they arrived, the house was on fire. On Tuesday, they testified the boy had 2nd and 3rd degree burns and a gaping wound in his stomach.
It's good to see you, man.
Later, O'Neal got the chance to question his son, who was just 8 years old on the night of the killings.
Did I hurt you that night of this incident?
Yes.
I did. And how did I hurt you?
You stabbed me.
During cross-examination, O'Neal pointed out inconsistent statements his son has made to detectives and attorneys since that night.
Did your dad hurt you the night that he hurt your sister? And you said, no, he didn't hurt me. Do you remember that?
No.
Later, prosecutors followed up saying the boy's very first interview took place from his hospital bed. The judge also said on the record today that O'Neal seems competent to continue the trial. Testimony continues in the morning. We spent the last 2 days working to get answers about what's next for the governor's latest order. It cancels fines that stem from local pandemic restrictions since last March. We wanted to know what happens to thousands of dollars Bay Area counties already collected. ABC Action News reporter Haley Bull followed up on those questions since breaking this story on Wednesday.
Bar and restaurant workers in Pinellas County tell us about the fines that have been levied against them amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The manager of Italia Mia in St. Petersburg says they received a fine after a worker's mask slipped down while making a pizza.
We were doing what's right on our end, but in the middle of that, we got in trouble for it.
John Reno Labutti owns several bars and restaurants, including the Landing at Janice. He says his businesses have received several civil citations for masks and social distancing worth nearly $2,000. And it's not always clear who's at fault, his staff or guests.
Some of what the mayor wants us to do is be policemen. I didn't sign up to be a policeman. My staff didn't sign up to be policemen.
Data from Pinellas County's clerk of the circuit court and controller shows 290 COVID violations, all from St. Petersburg. That adds up to nearly $69,000 in fines. But so far, just over $21,000 has been paid.
Really in limbo right now.
Now, they're waiting for direction from the state on whether and how to return the fines that have already been paid.
My preference that we follow the governor's order and that we, for the folks who are entitled to a refund, we issue the refund. I think it certainly would be unfair for the folks who have not paid that they get the free ride and the people who've paid get punished.
We reached out to the governor's office. They tell us his order applies to all outstanding fines dating back to March 1st of last year.
I just think that those fines are out of control.
And I think he issued this order because, let's face it, a lot of the businesses had to do with hospitality, restaurants, bars, things like that, which got hit the hardest. I think the intent is to get the money back to them and to give them relief if they have not already paid their fine.
The city of Tampa tells us it's collected a total of $2,200 voluntarily paid for civil citations. Hillsborough County has issued just over $800 worth of fines over mask violations, with one fine still unpaid. Back in Pinellas County,
I'm glad about the order.
I clapped and screamed really loud.
local businesses are hoping for answers soon.
Definitely will help out because it wouldn't be so much a strain on us.
In St. Petersburg, Haley Bull, ABC Action News.
Now to an update on red tide in the Gulf of Mexico. Here's the new map from Florida Fish and Wildlife. The red dots show the highest concentrations of the algae bloom. As you can see, the hardest hit areas include the Pinellas and Sarasota County coastlines. But tonight, researchers are trying to take a negative impact from red tide and turn it into a positive. The focus is on dead fish and whether they can be turned into fertilizer. Adam Catasis holds his nose as he stirs up a vat of dead fish.
Churn it up like a cauldron. So, it agitates of dead fish and bacteria and flies.
His work may not smell all that nice, but he hopes it will lead to new ways to mitigate red tide.
It looks really disgusting, but it looks like perfect compost.
Catasis is a scientist at Florida's Gulf Coast University's Water School. His team is working with Mote Marine and FWC. This week, they began composting the dead fish on a large scale. They want to see how the animals decompose and whether the result can be used as an organic fertilizer.
No one's done this with fish that have died from a red tide algae bloom,
which could make a positive impact on Florida businesses.
We have such large commercial fisheries. And then also we have these blooms that are killing these fish. How can we come up with the best way economically and ecologically to improve our situation down here in Florida?
The researchers also want to find out if dead fish contain nutrients that feed red tide and whether removing them from the water also reduces the fuel, enabling the toxic algae blooms to continue. Pinellas County alone has cleaned up around 3 million pounds of dead fish and other red tide debris in the span of about 2 months. So research like this could have a profound impact on how the Bay Area handles red tide debris moving forward.
Even though it smells really bad and it can be frustrating to work with, it could also increase our ability to move forward. How can we improve on this situation?
And Florida Gulf Coast University says its water school got funding for its research from the state's red tide mitigation program. The scientists plan to observe the vats of fish for about 6 weeks.